So, ladies and gentlemen, what is the most profitable movie William Shatner ever did? Was it the Star Trek series? Was it different productions he had in the 60s, 70s, and 80s? Well, actually, one of the movies from 1970s made back 17 times its box office costs. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about probably the best disaster movie you've never heard of, Kingdom of the Spiders. Now, Kingdom of the Spiders is a 1977 American science fiction horror film directed by Bud Cardos and produced by Ego Cantor and Jeffrey M. Sneller. The screenplay is credited to Richard Robertson and Alain Caillou, from the original story by Sneller and Stephen Lodge. The film was released by Dimension Pictures, not to be confused with distributor Dimension Films. It stars William Shatner, Tiffany Bolin, the great Woody Strode, Lou Dressler, and Altovi Davis. Cost $1 million to do and made $17 million at the box office. Now, the poster you can see tells the whole story. The film is one of the better remembered entries in the Nature on the Rampage subgenre of science fiction horror films in the 1970s, doing its part to its memorable scenes of people and animals being attacked by tarantulas. It's available on home video and airing on cable television, primarily on the USA Network. Has got a cult following primarily because of Shatner's over-the-top role. He plays Robert Rack Hansen, not Rick Hansen, a veterinarian in rural Verde Valley, Arizona, who receives an urgent call from local farmer Walter Colby. Colby's upset because his prize calf is sick for no apparent reason. Hansen examines the calf, which dies shortly afterwards. Hansen cannot explain what made the animal go ill so quickly, but sends samples of the calf's blood to a university lab in Flagstaff. Diane Ashley, an arachnologist, arrives to tell Hansen that the calf was killed by a massive dose of spider venom, which Hansen greets with skepticism. Typical Shatner way. Undaunted, Ashley tells him she wishes to examine the carcass in the area where it became sick. He escorts Ashley to Colby's farm. Moments after they arrive, Colby's wife, Birch, discovers their dog is dead. Now, Ashley discovers that it also died from a massive injection of spider venom. Hansen is incredulous until Colby states that he recently found a massive spider hill on a back section of his farmland. He takes Hansen and Ashley to the hill, which is covered with tarantulas. Ashley theorizes that tarantulas are converging due to heavy use of pesticides, getting back at humans, which are eradicating their natural food supply. In order to survive, the spiders, normally cannibalistic of each other, are combining to attack and eat larger animals. Now, Hansen and Ashley return to the Colby farm to burn the spider hill. As the scientists and the Colbys walk past the barn, a bull attacked by the tarantulas stampedes out. Colby douses the spider hill with gasoline and lights it on fire, but many of the spiders escape using a distant tunnel. Colby is attacked by a group of tarantulas while driving his truck the next day, sending the truck over the side of the hill and killing him. Hansen happens upon the accident scene and hears Sheriff Gene Smith find Colby's body encased in spider webs. Ashley is notified by her colleagues that a sample of venom from one of the spiders is 5 times more toxic than normal. Hansen is told by the sheriff that several more spider hills have been located at Colby's property. Hansen, Ashley, and the sheriff examine the hills, along with Mayor of Camp Verde, who orders the sheriff to spray the hills and the surrounding countryside with pesticide. Ashley protests that pesticide caused the problem to begin with, and that the town would be better off using birds and rats, which are tarantulas' natural enemies, to eradicate them. The mayor, not a tarantula expert, dismisses the idea, fearing that having a large number of spiders and rats would scare away patrons of the county fair. A crop duster is then enlisted to spray the pesticide, but once airborne, the pilot is attacked by tarantulas, causing the plane to crash before he can disperse the spray. Now, the spiders begin assaulting local residents, killing Birch and Hansen's sister-in-law, Terry. Hansen arrives at her home and rescues Terry's daughter, Linda. Hansen, Ashley, and Linda take refuge in a Washburn lodge and consult with the sheriff, who tells them the spiders are everywhere and Camp Verde is cut off. Officer Smith drives into town, while Hansen and the other survivors at the lodge plan to load up an RV and escape. However, the spiders have them trapped in the lodge, and they barricade themselves inside. Smith arrives at Camp Verde and finds the town under siege by the spiders. He is killed when another car crashes into a support post under the town's water tower, causing it to fall on his vehicle. That's a very interesting scene because that's been ripped off quite a bit through the years, the water tower death. Anyway, getting back to the story. At the lodge, the power goes out, and Hansen is forced to venture into the lodge's basement to change a blown fuse. He succeeds, but is besieged by spiders who break through one of the basement windows and just barely makes it back upstairs. The next day, the survivors rig up a radio receiver and listen for news of the attacks. To their surprise, the radio broadcast does not mention the attack, as the outside world is oblivious to what happened. Hansen pries off the boards of one of the lodge's windows and discovers the building along with the entire town of Camp Verde encased in spider silk cocoons. Now, there was some question there was going to be a sequel to this. We'll get into this in a second, but I left it quite open-ended. And besides Woody Strode, it was basically, and Shatner was a no-name cast. Now, Cantor told Fangoria magazine in '98 that the film did indeed use 5,000 live, large, hairy spiders, though a number of rubber model spiders were used during production. The live tarantulas were procured by offering Mexican spider wranglers US $10 for each live tarantula can find. That meant 50,000 of the film's initial $500,000 budget went towards the purchase of spiders. Now, the large number of tarantulas kept on hand led to some unusual production difficulties. Not only did each spider have to be kept warm, but because of the creature's cannibalistic tendencies, all 5,000 spiders had to be kept in separate containers. Additionally, tarantulas are usually shy around people, so fans and air tubes often have to be used to get the spiders to move toward their victims. Indeed, in a number of the scenes where the tarantulas are attacking people, it is obvious to the viewer that the spiders are merely moving around, usually away from their intended victims. Now, contrary to popular belief, the venom of most tarantulas is not dangerous to humans, causing no more harm than a bee sting, unless the person is allergic to the venom. Now, I've held many tarantulas through the years. I've never had a problem. So, now the worst injury most of the actors suffered was troubles in itching caused by the spiders shedding their bristles. Tarantulas' urticating bristles have been used to make itching powder sold in joke and novelty stores. Now, rumors had occasionally surfaced that a sequel to KOS, Kingdom of Spiders, was in production. However, no such film has yet been made. Shatner told Fangoria in '98 that he was working with Canon Films in the late '80s to produce a sequel titled simply Kingdom of the Spiders 2. The actor claimed that he supplied the film's premise, which would have featured a man being tortured by his enemies, preying upon his intense fear of spiders to get him to reveal a secret. Canon went so far to take out a full-page advertisement in Variety magazine announcing that Shatner would direct and star in the film, but the studio, of course, went bankrupt before production could begin, and I talk about this in a previous podcast. Now, in 2003, the website for Port Hollywood, a film production company run by Cantor and Howard James Reiki, posted a brief synopsis of the plot of another proposed sequel to be titled Kingdom of the Spiders 2, suggesting that the villainous spiders would this time be driven to attack humans due to secret government experiments involving ELF, or extremely low frequency. The synopsis also details Native American imagery that would factor in the plot. Now, Cantor hinted in his Fangorian interview that Arachnophobia, which Steven Spielberg produced, bears several similarities to Kingdom of the Spiders. I thought it was a copy, Cantor stated, but you don't go and sue Spielberg, second rule of Hollywood. Now, Riff Tracks made the movie an object of ridicule in an April 23, 2013 video on-demand download, which featured the movie with a running mocking commentary by Mystery Science Theater 3000 alumni Michael J. Nelson, Kevin Murphy, and Bill Corbet. Now, Shout Factory showed more respect. He released Kingdom of the Spiders special edition on DVD in early 2010. Now, you see the many tributes to Shatner over the years. Very rarely did he use video or comments of Kingdom of the Spiders. Now, I must say this is a lost treasure of that, animal bug thing of the 1970s, the swarm and all that. This is a hilarious spot. William Shatner chewing scenery left and right, trying to save the world from tarantulas. I paid to see that twice. And I really don't know why it only made $17 million at the box office, because I can see the headline, Captain Kirk versus Tarantulas. Spock is not there to save him like little lions across the way. Warp speed ahead, he's going to kill the tarantulas. Because I don't think Warp Speed Ahead was copyrighted. I would have read this like crazy. Now, I've never seen this movie in full. I've seen it in part. Now, allegedly, I may have seen it the last 15 minutes on a CBC French afternoon movie back in the day, and I can't remember. But if you have seen the movie, ladies and gentlemen, let me know in the comments what you think. Just with the plot alone, I would give it 3 out of 4. Because, William Shatner against tarantulas, and just to wrangle all these tarantulas to do certain stunts. But there was no talk if the tarantulas were mistreated or whatever. I would figure maybe at the end they all ate each other, and that's another story for another day. So ladies and gentlemen, that's our latest on crazy movies involving Canadian actors, either made in Canada or involving Canadian actors. And like I said, I am not one to turn down good cheese, and this was good cheese. And anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're doing here on our podcast, especially our entertainment ones, remote control and screenshots, let us know with a like, comment, or subscribe. Thanks for listening. Bye.